This episode is brought to you by Plugra European-style butter, crafted for those who demand precision and exceptional results in the kitchen. With 82% butter fat and a slow churn process, Plugra gives you flakier crusts, fluffier cakes, and rich, melt-in-your-mouth pastries. Because great baking starts with great butter. Unlike standard American butters, which have only 80% butter fat, Plugra ensures the ideal moisture and fat balance so your recipes turn out just right every time. That's why professional chefs trust Plugra and home bakers love it. Plugra's slow churn process creates a smooth, creamy butter that gives dough a soft, pliable texture, making rolling, folding, and laminating effortless. Whether you're perfecting a buttery pie crust or layering a delicate croissant, Plugra helps you bake with confidence. Experience the difference for yourself. Find Plugra in stores near you or visit plugra.com. That's Plugra.com.
You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
Hey, welcome to Beer Sessions Radio on Heritage Radio Network. I'm Jimmy Carboni. Guess what, guys? It's Friday, March 21st, 2025, and I am out in Denver, Colorado. We came out for the Bulls Old Festival, and for my second year in a row, where did I choose to go on a Friday? I'm at Bruz Beer, and we're here with some of the folks who own and run it, and a special journalist friend. So let's go around the room and everybody introduce themselves.
I'm Linnea Covington, managing editor of Dining Out Magazine.
Charlie Gotton-Kenny, co-founder, Bruz Beers.
Jake Conover, general manager of Bruz Beers.
And Ryan Evans, co-founder of Bruz Beers.
Charlie, you're going to do him for me, all right?
Okay.
So here we are. We're starting out with a new system. I'm on the road. It's our 16th year of Beer Sessions Radio and Heritage Radio Network. And why are we back here at Bruz Beer? Last year I was here through my friend Emily Hudo of Radcraft Beer. And it made me realize why I started loving beer in the first place, and it's Belgian-style beers. And it's not just having a beer. The same way I go out and I'll say, well, I don't just want a drink. I don't just want a beer. I don't just want a glass of wine. I want something that's good. And for some reason, many years ago, I got introduced to some really good Belgian beers. And that's what got me hooked on beer in the first place. And Charlie, you're probably one of the best people in the country to talk about why we should be drinking, Belgian-style beers and a little more about it. And our friend Linnea here is probably ready for an introduction to Belgian-style beers.
Okay. Well, Belgian-style beers, they go back centuries. Belgium is really one of the purest beer cultures in the world. They drink beer. As the French drink wine, the Belgians drink beer. They cook with it, even in fine dining restaurants. It's part of the dish. It's what you drink with the dish. And probably the most important thing to me, why I like Belgian beer, is it's very high quality standards. So it's also very creative. So the Germans like to think of themselves as beer heaven. Belgium's more like beer Disneyland. And a lot of different 1,600 kinds of beer in a country the size of Maryland. So, you can throw a rock in pretty much any direction and hit a brewery. And everybody takes the beer very seriously. Everybody's out to make the best possible beer, so they don't cut a lot of any corners. And it's everything from monastery beers on up to some really cutting-edge, modern-style beers. If you can name it, it's brewed somewhere in Belgium.
So, Charlie, the beer that's in front of us, let's talk about, we're going to taste at least 3 different of the Bruz Beers today. Sure. What context would you drink this beer that we're drinking first, and a little more information about it? Because the styles came from a place, and whether there's a certain food they were eating, or there's a lot of stories behind this style of beer, I'm sure.
Okay, well, this is a Belgian wit beer, and wit means white, beer means beer, and so they call it a white beer because it's a very pale beer. It's intentionally hazy. It's about 50% wheat, And it comes from the Wallonia region of Belgium, which is in the southern part of the country, very agricultural region. So they have the wheat, they have the barley down there, and they tend to use fresh ingredients. It was originally more drunk in the summer than otherwise, but it's pretty much year-round.
Ryan, for you, here at Bruz Beers, a little bit about why you have all these great Belgian styles.
Yeah, Belgian styles is all we focus on here. That's our passion. That's what we fell in love with in Belgium. And it was really an effort to try to bring our experience over there to America. We thought, this style of beer is the best beer in the world. And so if we could put our Colorado touch and spin on such historic, amazing styles, that's what we were going to do. And so we committed this entire company to just doing Belgian style beers. And, it was funny because at the beginning, people said, you can't do it. I mean, every brewery opening up at that time had a focus so broad. You tried to make everyone happy, and we said no. We're just gonna do the best beers in the world. Those are Belgian style beers, and here we are, coming up on 9 years later, having a blast and sharing it with the world.
Jake,
What's the question?
well, I mean, we're talking about some of the styles in Belgian wit, and and you work in the brewery. Tell us a little bit what you do and how. What the style means to you, how customers interact with it.
Wit beers are one of my favorite beers to drink. I just find they're a little creamier in the mouth and very tasty and refreshing. This is our second best-selling beer. My role at the brewery is to basically make sure everything after the beer is made works.
Which is no small task.
Yeah. So getting, staffing, making sure the bar is running properly, making sure the beer system is running properly, beers are on online, and menus are created, we can sell it. And then also we're involved in festivals. We have 2 locations, so I schlep beer between one and the other. Just very hands-on.
What's this location called?
This is our Pecos location, our Midtown tap room, and there are other locations off Colfax and York. Brew's off Fax.
Well, it's great. We're here on a Friday afternoon. It's filling up, and I love the buzz of everybody. And Linnea, what do you think of this style of beer? And now back to Charlie, because he's going to talk with you.
I'm loving the wit beer. It's so smooth and creamy, and it's unfortunately too drinkable. I think I'm going to finish this pretty fast.
That's what it's meant to be, isn't it, Charlie?
Yeah, well, it is meant to be light and refreshing. They used to sell more of it in the summer, but now it's pretty much year-round. It's made with 50% wheat. If you went back in history into the 1500s and 1600s, almost all beers were made out of wheat and rye. And eventually the Germans, it was the problem. They didn't have wheat for bread, so the emperor declared you could only make beer out of barley, water, and hops. And that was the German Reinheitsgebot with all its rules. But another interesting thing about it...
because they didn't want to use the wheat for beer. They were saving it for bread.
Exactly. The brewers were using up all the wheat. The bakers had nothing to make bread with. And so the emperor said, well, barley doesn't make great bread, but it makes great beer, so that's all they can use.
And then why did a wit beer become a style in Belgium?
Largely because of local ingredients. So this is from the southern part of the country, which is agricultural. That's where they grow the wheat and barley. It's about 50% of each in the beer. And one of the things that makes the beer unique is it's spiced. So almost all wit beer will have curacao, bitter orange peel, and coriander, especially Indian coriander, in it. And sometimes there are other things added to it, ginger, cumin, different kinds of peppers. I don't recommend the cumin. I tried that one time. That was enough. But there are a lot of different things. Chamomile is a popular ingredient in it. So people put different things in it. And it boosts the aromatics and the flavor profile of it. And
But you don't really need it to be a spice beer. The point is that it's a wheat beer. And it's very refreshing.
And a Belgian brewer will tell you if you can identify the spice, you put in too much. So the whole idea of wit beer is depth of complexity, but not spicy.
Yeah, I'm going to say that all those spices that you list, I don't taste anything like that, but yet I can kind of sense parts of it, which is really cool. Like definitely get that little bit of citrus. Yeah.
Yeah, so the spices, it provides a depth of complexity in the background, but it doesn't jump out. At least a well-made wit beer. I've had wit beers that are coriander bombs.
Well, this is very well made.
Yeah. Well, of course.
I'd get kicked out if I said
How did
something.
wit beer become? I mean, I know about Allagash White and the revival of wit beer in America and all that, but how did wit beer stay alive? Because I know, like in the late '70s, Saison was probably close to being extinct. Michael Jackson discovered it.
In the 1950s, wit beer did become extinct after 400 years. They just stopped. The last brewery making it closed down. And about 9 years later, a milkman who was a home brewer by the name of Pierre Celis ended up opening the Celis Brewery and brought back the wit beer style. And then he had, unfortunately, a fire, and what he didn't have was fire insurance. So he ended up selling the brand to AB InBev, and he moved to Austin, Texas, where he opened up the Celis Brewery again. So the brand has bounced around a little. Different people have owned it, but Pierre's daughter, Christine, has recently reopened it in Austin and is using Dad's old recipes and making some pretty respectable brews.
That's great. One thing I love about being in a brewery, and it feels like I'm in Belgium now, it's lively, people are talking, I know there's food. What would you pair with this? And for you, Linnea, what would you pair with a Belgian wit that's not served here?
That's not served here, because I'm looking at this tin fish and I just think the lemon sardines sound absolutely lovely and would sing with that. I don't know. I mean, that's a really good question.
I think
Personally,
we're going to need to taste the lemon sardines.
yeah, I think that's a good idea. I also just think my favorite drinks are ones that I can drink with or without food, and this is one I definitely could just love at all times. But I think something salty.
Yeah, the classic accompaniments for wit beer are seafood of various types, especially sushi. To me, it is the perfect beer with sushi. In fact, St. Bernardus, which is a monastery beer over in Belgium, actually they release a wit beer, but they also release what I think is pretty much the same thing that they call Tokyo, and that's really meant for the Japanese export market because it's so good with sushi and sashimi.
I wanted to talk about, whatever people say about craft beer or in any industry right now, there's really good stuff out there. Like we did Bolazol, we're only tasting the finest quality, spirits from Mexico. When I'm here at Bruz, I'm drinking fine beers in the style of Belgium. And the thing is that I don't think that every brewery has to do everything and be everything to everyone. But you nailed it, Lane. When you're talking about saisons as, wow, I could have started with this, and we could have only had saisons. It's almost like each style is really its own kind of beer. I mean, and Ryan, if you want to say something about that, and then Charlie, again, go deeper into what saison means, because, again, no one in America has nailed it. There's been no one that's been able to just do a saison style brewery. I mean, there might be, but it's never quite resonated, and I'm not sure why it hasn't been able to be an all whatever it is to a brewery.
Well, I think for us, we look at it as a feather in our cap or a tool in our toolbox. It's one of many beers that we like to specialize in and showcase throughout the year, and we brew different versions of it throughout the year. But for us, it's presenting across the board what Belgian styles represent. So we feel that this saison is a great representation of what you might experience in Belgium. Give it that we use Colorado ingredients on this, right? So we put our Colorado touch on it. But again, it's very reminiscent on a lot of saisons that you'll have over there. And then you look at the wit beer and the triple. We do a single, double, triple, quad. Sours. We do a lot across the board. So our goal here is to introduce you to certain things and see where it takes you. We get a ton of feedback over our bar, right? And so you can be a brewer and live on the brew deck and think you know the world. But when you come up front and you listen to customers talk and they listen to what they say and what they like and what they don't like, you start to form a different opinion of the type of beers that you should be brewing as a Belgian-style brewery. And so we meet every 2 weeks. All of us sit down, we taste beers, we bring outside beers in, we talk about our travels to Belgium, and we say, what's the next inspiration? What should we be doing? What should we be representing and bringing to this clientele because they're thirsty and they want to learn. They want to learn about the saison. They want to learn about the wit beer. They want to learn about what a triple is. So we're constantly evolving around that. We do a lot of education around it. We offer a lot of classes as well. We guide our customers over in Belgium for beer tours. But that full rounded view of what Belgium offers. So we're constantly pushing out new saisons and new triples and new styles, and then we get that feedback. Some of it's new for our customers, right? So they have no idea what it is, and we educate them, and we get their feedback. Maybe we don't brew another saison like that. We do a different saison next year, and we start to formulate not just what's popular, but what's quality, right? What makes a difference.
Yeah. And so, saison is one of 18 major beer styles in Belgium. Plus, there are hundreds and hundreds of one-offs that you'll see a brewery will only make one or two or three beers, and they don't necessarily fit into a particular style, and that's fine. The Belgians don't care so much about style; they care about making the best beer they can make.
So before we taste the Bruz beer, the wit beer, the saisons, we had some great conversations with everyone. Now we're going to a different style of beer, but it's more than a style. It's like a family. It's like a culture. The wit was one thing. The saison had yeasty forward flavors with a lot of traditions and history, but they're damn good beers. And now we're on to a whole nother different palate-wise history and everything. Charlie, give us a background on what type of beer are we about to drink here?
We're about to get our first monastery. There are a bunch of different monastery beers. Largely, 4 of them are single, double, triple, and quadruple, and we'll talk about that in a second. But these are beers that are brewed by monks in monasteries. And it started back in the Middle Ages when you couldn't drink water. So the monks, as a service to their community, brewed beer, which is how people hydrated. They would brew stronger beers that would be for Easter and Christmas, and they would brew table beers, and then they would even have a 1 to 2% beer that they would donate to the poor. So everybody had something to drink, and that came out of the monastery. Well, they eventually, once hops came out, hops have a preservative quality that allowed them to ship the beers to other towns and give it a longer shelf life, and so they started selling the beers commercially. So a single would be just kind of the basic beer. It's usually about a 4.5% to 5.5% beer. And there's a double that goes up to about 7.5%. And then you get into triples.
So what is different about these beers from an IPA, the wit beer we just had, the saison? This is a completely different family of beer. Everything about it's different. And again, when I'm drinking this, I just want to drink monastery-style beers.
So the monastery styles, again, are yeast forward beers. They're primarily barley, although there may be some wheat in some of them. They fall into certain categories. You've got single, double, triple, quadruple, and blonde ales that fall into that. And the one we've got in front of us is a triple. So this would have been a beer that was actually invented in 1932 by Westmalle, and everybody has copied it since. It's one of the most popular.
So wait, it's a modern style beer. It's not like from the 1700s with
a little bit of Belgian double, which is a dark beer, also a monastery beer. Those go back to the Middle Ages. This one literally didn't come out until 1932. And the reason it came out is it's a blonde beer. And at the time, the Belgians were trying to compete with German and Czech pilsners, which were the rage in Europe, because they were beautiful, golden, blonde beers, served in a glass and light and shine through them and everything, as opposed to
I almost did.
Yeah, we're about to announce our food pairings.
So it's some of the darker stuff. So this was intended to compete with pilsners. The difference is it's 9% alcohol. So you got a lot more bang for your buck with the triple than you did with the pilsner for about the same price. And they became really popular. It's just one of the most popular styles in Belgium right now. Not only is it brewed by monasteries, but it's brewed by independent brewers, and just a lot of breweries will just make this is one of their lineup of 4 or 5 beers.
So if you're wondering, Linnea, why did I want to taste the triple again? Okay, my history of a drinker and a grown-up, over 21 drinker, Belgian style triples are and were my Friday night beer, because there's something about them. It's the flavor, it's the strength, but there's a smoothness to it that is similar to a cocktail. If someone wants to start off their Friday night, and yes, you want to get a little buzz, but you also want that flavor, and you want to be able to keep drinking that for a while. Belgian Style Triple fits that for me. So, you guys, why is that my Friday night beer? What's different about this beer than the other ones that we had, in layman's term?
Well, the good part of it is it's stronger and the alcohol's well hidden. So you can be going along drinking them, and
so it's like a cocktail where it tastes really good and it's strong enough that suddenly I'm feeling this is Friday night.
after the third one, you got to go to the men's room and you find yourself on the floor. So that's not.
Well, so Linnea, you're in on this. What do you taste? Do you ever think that there was a Friday night beer?
Well, I'm just going to ask, can I drink this beer any day and make it Friday night?
Pretty
For
much.
sure.
That's what we do.
This is my favorite style that Belgium creates. It's the first style of beer that I ever had in Belgium, and it changed my world. And it's the first beer I ever brewed with Charlie, and it's the first beer that we brewed to open this brewery. And still to this day, this is my favorite style of beer. So we brew a lot of different styles of triple. In fact, Triple Day just occurred here, which is 3-3 every year. And so we had 3 different triples on tap for Triple Day, International Triple Day. But we love triple. It still, to me, like you, Jimmy, it brings up around really good thoughts and memories, and it makes me happy and it makes me smile. And we sell probably more triple than anyone in the region.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
This clientele that you look around, they think this is a very normal beer to have at a brewery that tastes good, and then they go travel and they figure out, wait a minute, this triple's pretty special. What these guys do.
It's delicious.
And you know that it's Friday.
I do know it's Friday.
So-
Barely know that it's Friday.
And how do you feel about, so we've given you different styles of beer.
Well, I'll talk about this one first. The triple is just like way too smooth. Like I would never think it had 9% alcohol. It's very sneaky. And it goes really good with the netta that we had.
Well, wait a minute. Are we tasting something, a pairing with the Belgian triple?
Yes.
Oh yes, sorry. I was like a pairing. Sorry, it's the Belgium triple. It's already got me.
So what are we eating with it?
Okay, so earlier today we stopped by Reunion Bread, which is in the Source Market in Denver, and we got the nettas, which is a traditional Portuguese little egg tart, and it's absolutely divine, and it has
So it's like custard and a little crispy crust,
yeah,
and you need at least 3 or 4 of them.
and that many napkins too. It's delicious, and the little hints of warming spices in that, paired with this like bright, juicy beer, it's a very nice way to cut the richness, I think, of that custard.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the pastel de natas are such a special treat from Portugal, and we guided the trip last year, and then my wife and I, we extended for a week down in Portugal, and I discovered these little nuggets of heaven, and so I set about to eat 2 of those every day, and I might have overshot and ate 3 or 4, but I definitely had a minimum of 2 a day, but it wasn't until today that I realized they pair so perfectly with a triple.
Well, what's the baker's name again?
Yeah, it's Reunion Bread. But I'm just thinking now you guys got to get a pairing going with Ishmael, the owner. It's a small operation. You're a small operation making delicious
left
things.
Reunion, and he made 12. They were fresh, hot out of the oven, of these natas.
Yeah.
And we literally have 1 left because we got here, we put it on the bar, and everyone here lit up. And so why is this a good pairing, Charlie? With because I know Ryan's is done, Jake's is done, Linnea's done. I'm still. Mine has so much filling in it and creaminess that I'm not done yet because I'm licking my fingers. But Charlie, why is this a good pairing?
Well, the pastry is rich and it's got the custard in it, an egg custard. And the nice thing about triple is it cuts through fatty flavors. So it's a good complement to a dish with a lot of fat, and that could be a pork roast. It could be something like this. It could be a dessert with lots of butter in it. It tends to just harmonize with that rather than fight it.
Smile. Yes, we're taking pictures too. It's been a wild show, man. I have to say that we went way over, and we've had a couple changes on the audio and stuff. But let's open this up. I mean, I don't know if I convince you why I like Belgian beer, but again, I'll say it again. In my early years of craft beer, probably one reason I got in the business was good Belgian triple. At the time, it was Chimay triple. I had customers that were Wall Street guys, didn't drink beer, but guess what they drank? Chimay triple or another Belgian triple. Some of my favorite moments were meeting small importers like the Shelton brothers, who had triples like by Guldenberg Brewery, which they said didn't use the candied sugar that a lot of breweries use. It was more about how they work the malts. And do you want to dive any deeper into how you make this beer, or should we just say it's a Friday night beer and let's just enjoy it?
It's a very simple beer. It's got 2 malts. It's got Pilsner malt and a little bit of acidulated malt, and then some brewing sugar. And brewing sugar is what the Belgians use to dry the beers out. So one of the things you'll notice that even with a beer that's kind of sweet in the middle, as the triple is, it finishes dry. It leaves you wanting another sip of it rather than like a barley wine, which is just sweet, like drinking caramel. And not that I dislike barley wines, but different experience. This has a dry finish to it. So that's part of what cuts through the fat and makes this a great food beer, as well as a beer that you can have as your Friday night cocktail.
And a dangerous beer.
Yeah, and a dangerous beer.
It is dangerous, and to do it proper in the U.S. Our focus in the U.S. is to flip beers so quickly in a brewery, right? And so if you travel around the U.S. and you try triples a lot, you'll usually find them over-sweet, under-attenuated. They just don't let it finish out long enough in the tank, right? So as you travel around, you'll notice that, and so it can in some people's mind impart a thought of sweetness. But as you've tasted here today, it's nice and dry. Leaves your palate wanting another sip. It's not sweet. If done right, it can be a very, very great food pairing beer.
Aaron makes a great point there about being done right. When the motive is to flip the beer in 7 days, no matter what, you're going to get beers that aren't finished. The Belgians will take as long as it needs. It has to sit there a month and a half, and it'll sit there in a month and a half, but it's going to be right when it comes out. And fermentation is not always a precise science, so sometimes you have to go with the old Paul Masson thing. We'll drink no wine before it's time. Well, we won't drink any beer until it's ready to be drunk. Yeah.
We're getting old, but it's still nice to talk to the next generation and make it fresh. So you guys have coming up events. Linnea mentioned the Girl Scout cookie pairing.
Well, that just ended. Yeah.
I'm not going to go. We're talking about when this comes out. We're talking about the Belgian, this big Belgian import festival, and I want you to call out some of the different brands of Belgian beers that you're bringing in and how they compare to some of the beers we tasted. Okay.
Yeah, this is really a culmination of 9 years that we've committed on this Belgian style in the U.S. and we've built a reputation. We've made so many friends in Belgium, and we guide these tours, and so the importers reached out to us and said, look, we want to hold Belgian Beer Week USA. We want to end that event in 2025 at your place in Denver, Colorado, and showcase what Belgium really has to offer. So right now, June 7th is the date. We've got 18 different breweries coming over from Belgium. They're importing stuff just for this show. So we're talking about beers that you can't normally get in the U.S., certainly not Colorado, that are going to be here. But the people that brew them, the people that own the breweries are going to be here as well. So it's not just a pouring Belgian beer style. Let me go over some of these names. I mean, Rochefort and St. Bernardus and Westmalle, Lindemans, Rodenbach, John Martin, Van Steenberg, St. Fulian, Dubuisson, Hofmann, Chimay, De Brodenburg, even Orval and Verhaeghe. I mean, there's more on top of that. It's going to be a day like Colorado has never seen. 18 different Belgian brewers pouring their beers, the owners and the brewers here, and we're all here to celebrate it together. It's a dream of ours when we open this thing to get that kind of respect and to have that kind of friendship with these guys. And here we are bringing it to the U.S. So it'll sell out. It'll sell out fast. That's the big one. And then we do an annual festival locally called Belgian Brew Fest, and that'll be October 4th this year. And that's the local breweries that we go around to our friends that brew locally here in Colorado, and we taste their beers and we say, what are you making that's Belgian style? Wow, that's a really good representation of a Saison, or that's a really good double. come pour that, show this town and this Front Range community that there's a lot of great Belgian style offerings that are made locally here in Colorado. And so that's another Passion Fest. I think this will be our 7th or 8th version of that festival, and that's much more on the local festival. So the Belgian Import Festival is a one-off. It's going to happen June 7th, and it's gone. So,
and then Charlie or Jake too. Okay, so for our benefits, we have 3 styles of beer: the Bruz Wit, Saison, and Triple. Of the breweries coming in, give our listeners an example of a good wit that could compare to yours, a good saison that could compare to yours, and a good triple that could compare to yours.
So the wit that I would pick up of that list is St. Bernardus makes an excellent wit, and they did that. I mentioned Pierre Celis earlier. Pierre Celis actually, who's kind of a hero in Belgium, actually helped them formulate that. Get a little clinking going on here. And so yeah, as far as Saison, I can't read. Wait on Lake Blue.
Well, you mentioned the triple, obviously, or the wit beer. I think the triple. I mean, the Havmon makes an incredible triple that we always like and enjoy and go to. Chimay triple as well. Both of those are going to be incredible. And then you got a style like Orval. I mean, Orval's its own style, essentially, of beer.
It's not like any other beer.
It's not just a Brett Saison.
No, it's not. It is more like an English pale ale that is finished with dry hops and wild yeast. So you get that Brett and the bacteria in there creates a kind of a lemony tartness to it, which increases over time. I've had a 20-year-old version of it. It's unbelievably good. It'll last forever. And
great. We're going to wrap up the show. I just want to say I'll give my pitch. Is that I love beer, I love wine, I love spirits, but I like the good stuff. And my friend Ray Dieter from DBA years ago always said, drink good stuff. What am I trying to say is, guys, I love what you're doing out there. Don't geek out too much. The point is that there's classic styles, and you want to be able to drink them. And as my Irish bar friends in New York say, it's called the Moorish. If you can't even finish one and drink more of it, then you need to figure out what people want to drink more of. But Charlie, you wrap it up for me. What is Moorish, and why is Triple done so well as a style for so many years?
It's just a great style, but it's one of many really great Belgian styles. And I've always loved it because of its simplicity and its complexity at the same time, and the fact that it is a highly drinkable beer that's quite strong. Yeah. And that has some attraction as well.
Great. Lena, let's wrap up the show. Any last question or anything you want to say about, wow, we're drinking Belgian beers in Denver?
Well, I'm super impressed with Tin Fish and Belgian beers. Like, that was a new discovery for me. And I'm also really happy I live 4 minutes away from this brewery. So, guys, expect me in a lot more.
Makes us happy, too.
Well, listen, you guys, thanks for joining me here on Heritage Radio Network. Linnea, Charlie, Jake, and Ryan, I remembered all your names. I'm Jimmy Carboni. Thanks to our engineer, George and Gabe. You guys are going to clean this up because there's a lot of information here. I'll catch you next time on Beer Sessions Radio. All right. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Woo!